This is part one of a multi-part video series relating to using Microsoft Excel to create mail merge documents and to incorporate that into emails. I've geared this towards the classroom environment and interacting with parents regarding their students. This first part will cover a variety of topics such as copying and pasting and using sorting data in Microsoft Excel. I'm using Windows 7. If you have a previous version of Windows, you can access Microsoft Excel if you have previously and already installed it as part of the Microsoft Office package. With Windows XP, if you click on the Start menu down here at the bottom and click Programs, you'll be able to find it under Microsoft Office through the corresponding submenus that appear after clicking the Programs button. If you've recently opened it, you could find it on this pinned Start menu. Otherwise, you can find it in the Microsoft Office folder, or if you open up the Start menu in Windows 7, you can type in the word Excel, and that should be able to find it and open it. If you're using a Macintosh computer or Apple computer, you can click on the spotlight in the top right-hand corner and type in the word Excel, and it should be able to find it if you've previously installed the Microsoft Office package. If you open up your Microsoft Excel, your window should look similar to mine. If you have a previous version of Microsoft Office previous to 2007, the top menu might look quite different. All of the mail merge things that I'm doing in 2007 also look very similar, if not identical, in 2010 or later editions. If your Excel opens up and looks different than this, this is the normal view in Excel. If you want to change this, I know the default for the Apple computer comes out looking like the page layout mode. Might look something like this. You can go back to normal by clicking on normal. When interacting with Excel, you could, the top of Excel is a series of columns running from A to Z and beyond. The columns repeat and have a variety of names, whether it be two A's, and can ultimately seemingly go on forever. I can scroll back to the beginning. Also, the same can be said about the numbers on the side, the left side, indicating my rows. This would be a row, and this would be a column. Each of these different boxes is a cell. If I select a cell, that cell is highlighted. The location of that cell could be described as C5, in column C in row 5. You could almost view each cell as its own individual calculator, or scientific calculator. Complex formulas and equations could be inputted to calculate data or work with and manipulate data. I won't get into too far with that today as far as doing addition problems and sorting, but the farthest we'll probably take it is to sort list from A to Z and with data as far as organizing things numerically by their values. I'm going to create what's called a header row, which is the headers of the information I'm going to enter in. I'm going to do a last name header row, a first name header row. I'm going to do a parent email. This email row could correspond with the parent email of a student of yours, or if you aren't working in the classroom environment, it could correspond with that student's email directly. I'm also going to enter in something science unit test 1 and a science quiz 1. You can resize these columns by hovering at the line in between them and expanding them and growing them so that you can see everything. This is mostly just for you and making it visible. I'm going to go ahead and enter in, and I hope you're following along with me as you watch this video and listening. Pause. Feel free to pause the video and follow along and make sure that you are duplicating what I'm doing. Otherwise, I'm going to try to move as quickly as possible, just in case you're watching this just for the informational aspect. So I'm going to enter in a variety of names. At least for testing this, I'm going to enter in some names that would be familiar that we can recognize later. And I'm going to go ahead and enter in my email address. I'm going to say that, and I'm also going to invent some science unit test. And I'm going to say my quiz is out of 10. I'm going to say that George Washington got a 9. I'm going to enter in just a few names. Something I want to show you, normally I would enter in the email address of John Adams, but I'm going to go ahead and copy this previous email address. I don't really have the email address of these past presidents, nor do these people really exist, but I'm going to test the mail merge document eventually, so I want to duplicate my own email address so that all the emails come to me. Of course, when you're setting this up yourself, you would use the actual email addresses. I'm going to, in order to copy this, I could return to the home and use these copy-paste functions. This is the copy. You'll notice there is a link here that says copy, Control-C, copy the selection, put it on the clipboard. This is cut, which is Control-X, and paste, which is the shortcut is Control-V. If I have a cell selected, I'm using the arrow keys to move between cells. If I have a cell selected, I can go ahead and right-click on this and copy. This is the same identical thing as if I'd gone up here and clicked the copy button. I could then go to the next cell and paste it. I could move my arrow buttons, move down again, and paste it again. It remains to be on my clipboard, ready to be pasted until the next time I copy or cut something. If I selected a cell, I could also, on my keyboard, hold the Control button in the bottom left-hand corner of the keyboard and tap the letter C. I've now selected that to be copied. To paste it, I could again click this paste button. I could again right-click that cell where I want it to go and hit the paste button. If I am selecting where I want it to go, I could again also use the shortcut, holding the Control button and tapping the letter V. I could paste that information that I've copied. To remember this, you might think the C button for copy and V, you could look at it as a down arrow indicating or pointing to the location that you're going to paste something. I'm going to go ahead and enter in a few more names. And I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this parent email. I'm going to use the shortcut Control-C, paste, Control-V, paste, Control-V, paste, Control-V. I'm going to give John Adams a 90, variety of scores. And for the quizzes. And I'll enter one more. It's still on my clipboard, even though it's not flashing, or it's not. Control-C, paste. Give this person 110. Currently, I haven't saved this Excel document, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I can go to the top and hit the menu and click Save. I can also click this picture of a disk. I'm just going to go ahead and save it. Remember where you're saving it. If you are going to eventually work with mail merge, it would be helpful if you saved both the future mail merge document that we'll work with in the next video with your in the same location as your Excel document. I've already created a folder called mail merge, and I'm going to call this my class list 2012-13. Save as type 97 to 2003, that's fine. Everything else is fine. I'm going to just go ahead and click save. In Excel, I can sort things based upon alphabetically or numerically. If I wanted to sort by last name, I could do that. Sort by first name. I could sort alphabetically from A to Z, or opposite that. I could sort from Z to A. I could sort by the score they received on the science unit tests, and I could sort by what they received on the quiz. If I wanted to, I could use an Excel formula and create an average of these two scores, but I'll save that for perhaps a future lesson. If I wanted to sort these lists, I could sort just this list by highlighting that list, but I want to sort everything and keep my last name associated with my first name, and again associated with the email and the scores on these two tests. In order to associate all this data, I'm going to highlight the whole data, the whole array of data, by clicking on the uppermost left cell. I'm going to click and hold, and while holding my mouse button, drag it over all of my data. All of my data is now selected, and I release the mouse button to leave it selected. I now, if I am on the Home tab, can do a variety of tasks with my data. I can change its text size, bold it, have it aligned vertically or horizontally. I could change its type if I knew it was a number. Excel's pretty good at recognizing or automatically guessing if it's a number, but currently it's just general. Format, if I wanted to add colors, conditional formatting, if things are greater than or less than. I could insert cells in between if I needed to add another name in here. We're going to do some sorts anyway. Format the size automatically if I wanted to auto-fit and had a variety of columns. That would be easier than moving things like that. But I'm going to use the sort and filter button. Click on that once with my mouse. I could sort A to Z, and Excel would make its best guess at which column I want to sort. I'm assuming it would probably do the first one. But as I have a header row, which is this row at the top, I want to do a custom sort. I could also filter data. If I wanted to filter data based on students that got above a certain score, I could come up with formulas for that. If I had a third column here that said president, and I had yes, yes for the first two, no for John Smith, yes for Thomas Jefferson, and no for Mark Adams, I could do a filter that only showed me presidents, or only showed me answers that said yes in this column I could invent. That's something that you could also pause and play with if you wanted to. Do a custom sort. Excel has guessed that this first row is a header row, and that's why this column check my data has headers. If this was unchecked, that would only be true if this first column, row 1, just began with a president's name and I had no individual header row. You'll notice it says column A, column B, which column I want to sort with. I do have headers in my header, so I'm going to check that. And now I can sort by last name. These are values, and I can sort A to Z. If I did that, sorts from A through Z, and of course the results and the emails came with it. If I wanted to undo that, just give you a tip here, the undo button. Once again, there is a shortcut, Control Z will undo something. I can click this undo button and return to what it was before. I could go to the right, which is redo the sort, and I could click this down arrow, and this walks me through most, if not all, of the actions of things I've typed in since I opened it, or since I opened it since its last save. So I've left it sorted by last name. I could return to the sort and filter, do a custom sort again. Maybe this time I want to sort by the unit test, and I want to see who got the best scores, so I could change this from largest to smallest. If I wanted to see my struggling students, I could leave it at smallest to largest. So you could see that Thomas Jefferson really had a lot of problems at this recent science test, whereas Mark Adams, whoever that might be, had the highest. once again, I can undo this and return to the alphabetized by last name. I could go ahead and add the average between these two scores. Average. At this point, I could average these two data items to the left. I'm going to go ahead and I could insert a formula, which is or a function, which could do my math. A lot of these things are already available and ready to go. There's a lot of commonly ones. Here's the average command that gives you the syntax of what that formula should look like. Any function is going to begin with the equal sign. You'll notice it says equals average D2 and E2. It's estimating that I want to average D2, which is the location of this cell, D2, and E2. So it's selecting both of those. I could do a second number, but it's already incorporated these two values in my first number. That first number can also be an array, which is more than one numbers. And here's my array, and this colon represents the array of these two values from D2 all the way to E2. If I had further quizzes or test results, I could have D2 all the way to G2, and that would take all of the values in the row of the 2 column from D to the end of my array. I'm going to click OK, and it has determined that on a 100-point scale, the 48.5% is the average. Once again, I had started by saying my science quiz was out of 10, so this may not be necessarily useful information unless I could convert my 7 out of 10 into a percentage, which seems more logical of what the science unit test might be. So this isn't really necessarily helpful, but it gives you how you might calculate an average. I could go ahead and do the same thing for this without going into the function option, just by clicking in that cell, hitting the equal sign, typing the word average, hitting the first bracket, and I want to highlight or select the items I want to average. I click the first number and hold it and drag through the values, which creates the same range. I then can hit the right bracket, which completes my formula, hit enter, and I now have the average of those two numbers. If I typed in 100 here, my average will obviously be 100. If I typed in 90, my average is 95. So you see how that automatically, in formulas, automatically update as its corresponding values change. Turn that to 10. For this purposes of the mail merge, I don't really want to use or go into too many averages, and since I'm using a science quiz out of 10, it's inopportune nonetheless. So I'm going to delete that. I just highlighted that and hit the delete key to get rid of it. Excel is huge. There's an unending amount of formulas and functions that you could use. I could go ahead and also total these values. If I wanted to create a total, I could do a sum function, which would be commonly used, which would be the sum. And again, that works the same way. Equals sum, and there's my array of data. I could also arrive at the same thing by hitting the equals key, typing the word sum, left bracket, and highlighting the array of information I wanted. Enter. Obviously 90 plus 7 is 97. I could even copy this formula by hitting my shortcut, as you recall, Control-C, and pasting this. You'll notice that Excel automatically adjusts that I want to calculate this particular row. And if I continue to copy this pattern all the way down, you'll see that even this formula here is really pulling from D8 and E8. This is D8 and E8. Move up, D7, E7. So it's automatically changing and corresponding itself with the information to the left of that. If I did need to want to incorporate a constant in this, I would need to add the $ symbol, which when I copy and paste things, it would keep D7 as a constant in my formula. Once again, this goes a little bit further than the mail merge that I'm going to end up with. I'm going to save this document, remember where I save it, and I can go ahead and close Excel, which gets me ready for the mail merge aspect and part 2 of this video series. Thank you.